You are listening to the Marry Your Future podcast with Christina Armstrong, where we help you break up with your past so you can marry your future. Christina is an author, singles coach, and speaker who is passionate about helping women journey from breakup to boss up. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
Guess who's back? Thank you so much for allowing me the time to rest and just to reflect. I had no idea how heavy that last episode was on shame and how much I was carrying. I had no idea how heavy it was. And so after I did that last episode, I was like, I need a break. And so I heeded just that need, and I took the month of October off. Thank you for everyone who's been covering me in prayer and just keeping me in your thoughts. It's one thing to walk something out, it's another thing to walk it out and be vulnerable and transparent with people you don't know in hopes that it would encourage them. And so sometimes this journey can feel really heavy, but I'm reminded that his burden is light, his yoke is easy. And so I literally just had to take some time and sit back and just really, really just let God be God. And so, gosh, so much has happened. I want to catch you up on so much. I think right after I took the break, I was going on a trip with the community. I'm going to fill you in on that because there was lessons learned. The God of the universe was encountered. That it was some good things that happened. But I want to talk to you about preparation and the lack thereof. And so how even in my lack of preparation, even in my lack of planning, even in my lack of being ahead of the game, God still honored it. Now, I don't want you to take this and be like, oh, yeah, I'm good to be a procrastinator. No, women of wellness show up differently. That's what I'm learning. That's what my mentor is teaching me. Women of wellness don't leave anything to chance. They are ahead of the game. They are solutionists. And at the core, that's what I am. But I still function with some poverty mindedness and some lack and just just some things that are not good qualities of a woman of wellness. And so in my lack of preparation for a community trip that we had coming up, I number one was leading the trip. And so I'm learning that in leading things I show up differently because you're leading. You should show up differently. So I should be the first one with my ticket. I should be the first one with things booked. Why? Because I'm leading. That was not the case. I took on very much that I'll get my ticket when I get my ticket. Like, I'll be there. And that wasn't a good trait to have. And even though I knew that I would secure my ticket, I knew because I was like, oh, I'll just get a one of those last minute tickets where you get a deal. Like, I got stuff going on. I'll get there. I know I'm supposed to be there. I'll be there. And so I hadn't really used the principles. I hadn't talked to God about, okay, when do you want me to fly? Or what are we doing? And I just was like looking at this one ticket. I was like, all right, I'm going to fly this time. It's a one way. It'll get me there by this time. That'll be good. Somebody's scheduled to pick me up. Boom, boom, boom. Well, I want to say a week before the trip, I have this vision of me sitting down with my uncle, and I hear myself in the vision say, I'm very angry with you. Now, mind you, I didn't know that I was angry at my uncle until I snapped out of that vision, and I was like, I'm angry? And the Lord was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, I guess we'll deal with that whenever I see my uncle. I ain't gonna do nothing about it. Okay. And so I had to come to the realization, oh, I'm angry with my uncle. And one, it's scary that I could be angry with someone in my heart and not even realize it. And I'm so good at burying things that I literally did not know that I was angry with him. But as I sat and thought about it, I was like, oh, I'm pissed. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm angry. And I don't trust this situation and da-da-da-da-da. But it was never something that I spoke out loud until I had that vision. And so planning to go to the trip, and I wait 2 days before the trip to book my ticket. And I'm on Priceline. I'm like, all right, boom, let me get this ticket. I Get up, get the ticket, try to get the ticket, not working. Try 3 times. It's not working. And let me be, so this is how bad it was. I was getting my ticket 2 days before and I fell asleep while putting the baby to sleep. So I jumped up at like 9 and was like, oh, I got to get my ticket. So I'm going on Priceline, trying to get my ticket. 3 times it's not working. They're like, your card's not working. Your card's not working. I'm checking the card. The card has the funds. Like, I'm using the right information. What's happening? So finally, after the 3rd time, I said, Lord, is this you? And he said, yes, go to sleep. I'm like, God, I don't want this ticket price to go up. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I go to sleep. So this is at 9 o'clock. I go to sleep. I wake up at midnight and I tried to book the ticket again. I'm trying, da-da-da-da. Still, your car not working, your car not working. And I'm like, what is happening? So I start praying in the spirit and I see 2 tickets. I see the ticket that I want, and then I see a ticket that has an 8-hour layover in the state that my uncle's in. And that vision comes back to me. And I say, God, am I going to that state? Am I going there? Am I having a conversation with my uncle? Was that vision? Like, you want to take care of that now? And he said, yeah, book the ticket. And so, but then he gives me further instruction. He says, go to the airline website and book the ticket. I go to the airline website. That ticket is available. I book it, and it is $100 less than what I was going to have to pay. So I just was laughing. I was like, okay, God, we're having a conversation. So book the ticket, got it, let the community know, hey, I'll be there, but I've got to stop in Texas to do this thing, and I'll meet y'all, when we get to the trip. And so I get there and make sure, okay, because my mic be cutting off. So I get my ticket, and now I have to call my uncle to see if he'll come pick me up from the airport and bring me back. And so I call him and I'm like, hey, I got this layover in your town, in your city. It's 8 hours. I don't want to sit 8 hours at the airport. Can you come get me and then bring me back? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. So I was like, okay. So he comes to get me, and I've lost weight. So my family is not used to skinny Christina. So they're like, he's hugging me. He's like, I'm worried about you. I'm like, I'm fine, bro. And so we go. And I told the Lord, I said, if you want me to have this conversation, it's going to have to be organic. I am not forcing this. And so my uncle comes to pick me up. He gives me a hug. We get in the car, and we just organically start talking just about Christina as a child, how I was mean, how I was this and that. And we're kind of going back and forth. And then I said, now hold on, is there food in the house? Because if we're going to be talking like, you need to feed me. He goes, no, I'm going to take you to go get some lunch. Now remember, in my vision, I had a vision of us sitting down at lunch talking. So I said, okay. So we go to lunch, and I'm sitting with my uncle, and the vision begins to play out. And I look at my uncle and I said, I'm angry with you. And he says, I know you're angry. Yeah. I said, no, I'm angry with you. And we began to have this whole conversation. And I began to tell my uncle, I'm like, you gave your blessing on something that you shouldn't have. And when it imploded, I couldn't say, well, at least my uncle said, don't do this. And to his point, he said, Christina, you want to listen to me. You want to listen to me. And the thing that got me was he said, I wasn't prepared to hurt your feelings. And so we had this long conversation, and I'm like, I need to trust that you'll see what I don't see, and you'll cover me. And so I need you to say if something's not, even if I don't listen, that's on me. At least when it blew up in my face, I can go back and be like, okay, my uncle told me. And so we sit there and we have this long conversation, and things just begin to unload and unpack. And I'm seeing my uncle in a different light, and he's seeing me. He's like, you're different. I say, yeah, I'm less prideful. Like, I've been humbled. This situation humbled me. And I just remember him sitting there and looking at me. He said, I can have the conversation with you, like, moving forward. If it ever happens again, I'll have the conversation. And I said to him, I said, if you can't tell me the truth because I won't listen to you, That's manipulation. I need you to tell me the truth regardless if I heed it or not. Don't rob me the opportunity. And so it was so awesome just to have a pure conversation with my uncle. We sat in that restaurant for a long time. And then I just literally, my layover was 8 hours. I was trying to do a lot in that 8 hours. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the hair store. I'm gonna put a quick weave in. I was trying to do so much. But that 8 hours, my uncle hijacked me for those 8 hours. Like, I literally was with him for 7 hours pretty much of us just going to eat, going running errands, doing things, and just sitting and talking. And I said, oh man, God, relationships are important to you. And it was important for me because my uncle got to see the growth. Now, we won't always agree or see eye to eye on things. He will tell me something and I still may decide to do my own thing or to do opposite of what he says. But I never want someone to withhold truth from me because of how I'll react or because I'm prideful or because I think I know everything. No, no. And so I got to literally sit and talk with uh, my uncle, and it was refreshing. And it let me know that God will use anything. And He orchestrated that. And I mean, when I tell you 3 times of me putting in my car, I'm so glad my car didn't lock because I was trying so hard to book this one ticket. And thank God I learned to go, all right, God, is this you? What's up? What are we doing here? And in that, there got to be restoration to a situation. And so now I sit and I joke with my uncle and I said, hey, if that ever happens again, I'm going to get you a sign and a t-shirt that says, do not do this, Uncle D. And I want you to wear it and hold the sign. So that way, if I do the thing that you're telling me not to do and it blows up in my face, I can be like, my uncle sat there with a t-shirt and a sign and told me not to do that. And I can trust that you'll cover me. And so that restoration opened up just the door for me to receive, the door for us to have conversation. And so I got to talk to my uncle. And even after, I was having some joint pain and some things as I was going out of town. My uncle was like, send me the address where you're staying. I'm going to send you some vitamins. They should help. And it just really opened the door for restoration and for healing. And, he ended up connecting me with someone who could help me with something else. And it was just like, man, I don't always have to agree with him, but I do need to be in a place where we can have healthy dialogue. And this was important to God. This really wasn't this. And I said, God, you hijacked my flight. I was going to have a straight flight. And he said, nope. And I thought it was so dope that I had the vision, like just minding my business, literally minding my business. And it was just kind of like I saw like a movie sitting at lunch. I'm angry. I said, "Ooh, okay, God, I need you to reveal whatever else is in there. Whoever else I'm holding hostage, I need you to reveal because I don't want to be this prison." And so I'm so glad that my uncle and I got a chance to sit down and to talk. I'm so glad that we were able to say what needed to be said, and both of us had ears to hear. And I mean, we talked about things even to my childhood. When he said, Christina, I couldn't even hug you. And I said, I was sexually abused. Duh. I don't want you hugging me. And for him, it was like, wait, what? And I just, I'm so casual about it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I've confessed that. I told that story 11 times, but I'm realizing that the people that love me some of them are just hearing it for the first time. And it clicked for him like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. But he also looked at me and said, that just broke my heart. And I got to see how my uncle cares, how he loves me. We joke and say he always thinks he's right. But now I can receive things from him. Now, because we've had that conversation, I can call when I'm in need and I'll trust. And that was one thing that, I was thinking about. I said, I didn't realize how much my uncle's word meant to me. Like, my uncle is one of those people, if he says something, he's going to do it. When I got off the plane, I didn't have to call and say, "Where are you at?" I knew my uncle was on the way because we had a conversation, and he's a man who shows up. And so for me, I didn't realize that I held his word so close. So when he said, "Hey, I'm giving you my blessing," I was like, "Oh, we good." No, for him to come back and be like, "Yeah, no, I really ain't want to do that." What? For what? But it was because I wasn't in a place to receive. And so humility has taught me to be open. Humility has taught me, I say it all the time, but I'm learning it now. Chew the meat, spit out the bones. Humility has taught me, hey, God will use anybody. He used a donkey. He will use anybody. And again, I say it time and time again, relationships are important to God. They are so important. He is a people God. And so I'm so thankful that he hijacked my travel and he orchestrated for me to have time with my uncle. And he just always takes care of me. Always. Even in the heart matters, he always takes care of me. So I want to encourage you to be sensitive to what the Holy Spirit is trying to reveal to you. I want to encourage you to really ask the Lord to reveal your heart and for him to show you anything that is hidden. If you have any issues with anybody, ask the Lord to reveal it and to help you to deal with it. There's still some people that I'm not there yet, and I know I'll have to forgive, but I'm also waiting. I'm asking the Holy Spirit to help me process that. Relationships, people are important to God. You're important to God. And so I'm excited to be back. Episodes will drop every other week, but make sure that you are subscribed so that you can be in the know. And then also make sure you're subscribed to the email list because we'll be getting back to that. So until next time, I just wanted to share that with you. I felt like it was important and a really good way to start off this kickback season. So love you guys.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to check out the website at itschristinaarmstrong.com for more content. And remember, God can't heal who you pretend to be. It's time you break up with your past so you can marry your future.